Hi there, I'm Edd China, and What Car have asked me to talk to you about vans. Why? Well, as an engineer, inventor and mechanic, I often find myself needing to haul all kinds of things around, and so I've actually owned a fair few vans of my own over the years, and therefore I know what makes a good one. Besides, I've also made a street legal motorised shed, and when you think about it, that's basically as good as a van's going to be anyway. Don't think about it too much. Anyway, grab yourself a tea and a sarnie and let us guide you through the world of commercial vehicles. We'll tell you the best ones, but also the ones that aren't even as appealing as a petrol station pasty. While you're here, please remember that you can lease or buy your next van through What Car by following the links. And to make sure you don't miss an episode of my video reviews, please click subscribe below. Today we're going to be talking about Volkswagen's biggest van, the Crafter. And it certainly is big. Big outside, big inside, and big on comfort too. It's so big, it even makes me look small, and that's saying something. Right, do we get that? Brilliant. Time for tea. For years, the Volkswagen Crafter lived in the shadows of the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. It was well known that the Crafter shared the same platform as a Mercedes van, and so many people opted to buy the latter instead. That all changed, however, when the deal between the two manufacturers came to an end, and Volkswagen spent close to €2 billion designing a new Crafter and building a factory to make it in. Apart from the Sprinter, there are a number of alternatives to the Crafter: the Ford Transit, the Peugeot Boxer, the Nissan NV400 and the Renault Master. But really, the Sprinter is the most serious rival because it too, like the Crafter, is available with options for front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Power comes from a 2-litre 4-cylinder diesel engine with 4 different power outputs that aren't necessarily available on all models. First up is a 101 brake horsepower engine available only on front-wheel drive vans. Next is a 121 brake horsepower unit only available on twin-wheel rear-wheel drive models. This is followed by a 138 brake horsepower engine that you can get on pretty much every version. And the lineup is completed by a rather potent twin turbocharged 174 brake horsepower unit that's again available on all model types. Behind the wheel, the similarities between the Crafter and its smaller sibling, the Volkswagen Transporter, become obvious. And that's definitely a good thing because the Crafter feels every bit as dynamic as the smaller van. Its steering is fast and responsive, which is impressive because it's got an electromechanical setup, and that normally dulls the connection between the driver and the road. You also get a smooth, comfortable ride that only improves with a load in the back. What's more, because the steering is electromechanical, it means Volkswagen can offer all sorts of driver assistance functions. So you can now equip your Crafter with driver attention monitoring and lane keeping assistance. And you can choose systems which will enable your Crafter to park itself, and which help you to reverse with a trailer attached. This 138 brake horsepower engine is the one we'd recommend, not just because it goes across all the configurations, but because of the instant power and torque and the way that it can pull effortlessly just a few revs above idle. It also allows you to specify the 8-speed automatic gearbox. The 6-speed manual gearbox is slick with a nice clean action, so it's pretty sophisticated for a large van and perfectly adequate for the majority of users. But the 8-speeder is a superb automatic. It's the only one in a large van that I would consider, except perhaps the Himatic transmission in the Iveco Daily. One of Volkswagen's main aims for the Crafter was to reduce the stress on the driver. That means reducing noise with a more refined engine and improved sound deadening. And indeed, the Crafter is really very quiet for a van of its type. Volkswagen's stress reduction measures also extend to the interior, which may look a little unexciting. It's actually quite a nice place to spend some time, particularly the driver's seat, which is very comfortable. There's lots of usable space too, notably these 3 open areas in the top of the dashboard. The dashboard itself is actually split horizontally, creating some more storage space and 2 more cup holders. The infotainment screen is crisp and easily readable, even when bright light is shining across it. And the system itself is logical and easy to use. Startline trim includes storage under the seat, but also a folds-down tray in the backrest of the seat for writing or a laptop, even some more cup holders. You also get a fully adjustable steering wheel, a multi-function display with Bluetooth radio and a USB connection. Trendline, like this van, adds an upgraded driver's seat with 2-way lumbar adjustment. It also comes with an armrest, cruise control on a multi-function steering wheel and electric heated wing mirrors. It's also the point at which the 8-inch touchscreen is added, along with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay smartphone mirroring. Highline really just improves on trendline, with the cruise control becoming adaptive, the seat becoming electric with 4-way lumbar control and 2 armrests. Front and rear parking sensors are also added, although these can be specified separately or included as part of a pack of extras. There really is a crafter for everyone. This van is available in 2 wheelbases with 3 vehicle lengths, 3 roof heights and 3 different gross vehicle weights. You can also get it in a single or double cab chassis. Now pay attention, because this bit gets a little bit more complicated. The short wheelbase crafter is actually a medium wheelbase and is called the L3 because the terms L1 and L2 were used up on the Transporter. Now if, like this van, your L3 isn't really quite long enough, you can spec the longer wheelbase version, so of course the wheels are further apart, and that rather cleverly is called the L4. Now if that still isn't enough, they can actually get an L5 or the Maxi, and they bolt on a load of extra van behind the rear wheel on that longer wheelbase. Now that naming structure also carries through to the heights. So a low height roof crafter is actually going to be called an H2, and it's normally about this sort of level. And then the standard, which is this one here, is an H3. And then if you want to go crazy, you can go right up to H4, which is about here or so. Now still with me? Fantastic. Now the smallest crafter, the L3 H2, can carry 9.9 cubic meters of stuff, whereas the biggest, the L5 H4, can carry a whopping 18.4 cubic meters. Load lengths range from 3,450 millimeters to 4,855 millimeters. And while we're talking about interior space, the smallest crafter can manage 1.7 meters, whereas the tallest can go up to 2.2 meters. Now that's actually the tallest load space in the whole of the market, and that is extremely important to some of us. Those 3 different gross vehicle weights take the form of a 3-ton CR30, the 3.5-ton CR35 and the 5-ton CR50. And maximum payloads range from 784 kilograms to 2,621 kilograms. Your run-of-the-mill 3.5-ton van will transport up to a maximum of 1,447 kilograms. You get a sliding side door with an aperture of 1,311 millimeters as standard on all models. On Startline versions, the rear doors swing open through 180 degrees, while Trendline and Highline versions have 270-degree opening doors. There's very little to dislike about the crafter. Okay, so the interior could perhaps be just a little bit less bland, and maybe before you go down to the dealership you need to do a cramming course just to make sure you get exactly the right option when you fill out the order form. But on the flip side, there's just so much to love. Most importantly, it's enormous. You've got loads of room for whatever you have to heft around. But also, more than that, it's the drivability. It's extremely comfortable and pleasant to drive. And of course you have the option of that wonderful automatic gearbox and all those lovely toys and gadgets as well, many of which you wouldn't find on other vans. And if you were to pick that lively but economical 138 brake horsepower engine, there simply isn't a better big van out there at the moment. So the crafter certainly gets the Edd factor, but better than that, it also gets the hallowed What Car 5-star rating. If you'd like to see more of me talking to you about vans, then do click subscribe and we'll bring you more van reviews like this one. As a rather lovely added bonus, you'll also get to see all of What Car's excellent new and used car reviews as they're posted too. See you next time!